All right, good afternoon, everybody. Sorry for the late start. We had some technical difficulties, and we're back on. We're ready to go. Welcome to the Golf War Advocate podcast. I am your co-host, and now temporarily your host for the Golf War Advocate for today. Tim Hauser is out and about with Senator Sherrod Brown doing roundtables about information about the PACT Act and all the new stuff that's coming out. The VA's putting out for the PACT Act, and also the implementation here by the beginning of next year for the PACT Act. So that's where he is. We have a good show for you today. Really good show for you today. We have Patrick from Oscarmike. He's coming on to explain what Oscarmike is about and how it helps veterans. Um, get the services and some motivation for folks that might not be in a situation where they can do regular things on a daily basis. So we're going to talk to him here in a few minutes. I did want to mention to you real quick before we started that it was World Mental Health Day the other day here in October. So if you have um, some challenges with mental health, and for us veterans, that seems to be a constant challenge for all of us, a lot of us, to navigate the mental health challenges that we've seen afflicted with combat. So I'm going to put up the screen here for the Veterans Crisis Line. Again, is a three-digit number of 988. That number again is 988. You can call and or text the Veterans Crisis Line at 988 if you're having some challenges and you need some help and assistance with some mental health issues. If you're having a hard time struggling and being challenged by what's going on in your life, then please give them a call. They can direct you to the services and the care that you need to get through. You're not alone. You never will be alone. Or call your battle buddies or those people who you know that got your six. But if you need some additional help, don't be afraid to call and reach out to that 911 or 988 number. So, and with that, we are going to introduce our guest today. Patrick, you there with us?
Yeah, how you doing, Kevin?
Good, Patrick. How are you?
I'm doing well, doing well.
Great. So we just talked about the World Mental Health Day the other day here in October. The VA's new 988 number that they can text or call for the crisis service line and those kind of things. So Patrick, we wanted to bring you on. Thanks for coming on, by the way, to podcast, and we want to get a lot of information out for from you for Oscarmike. But can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came on board with Oscarmike?
Sure thing. So a few years back, I was just a old Marine wanting to see what I still had left in the tank, and I've always been active in sports. I've always been doing something, and I went out, started looking for different things to do after a lifetime of playing hockey and other sports, and I started obstacle course racing. So I would see Oscarmike out there with their canopy, and but I kind of had tunnel vision. I was focused on myself, and I'd go out there and I'd do some races, and every so often we'd cross paths, and I'd see him there. One day I'm out doing a race, and they seen the USMC tattoo on my arm, and they kind of pulled me in, and they said, "Hey, we got this Army veteran that's injured. He's paralysis on one side of his body, and we could use a hand." Uh, that was back in 2017. I've been with the foundation ever since, volunteering with them, and that's pretty much what the foundation is about. Is they take injured veterans and get them on the move again through adaptive sports, through their partnerships with like Spartan OCR and other things that they do. We work with paralyzed veterans, quadriplegics, paraplegics, amputees, multiple amputees, TBI, traumatic brain injury, veterans with vision loss, up to complete blindness. We get them outside their comfort zone and get them doing things that they didn't think was possible anymore. Obstacle course racing is kind of like the ultimate challenge of what they're still capable of. But there's many facets of what Oscarmike does.
So, you got on board with Oscarmike, and where are you at? Are you were you in the Midwest? What area? What part of the country are you in?
So I live in Michigan. Oscarmike, the foundation is based out of Poplar Grove and Marengo, Illinois. They were founded in 2011 by a young Marine by the name of Noah Courier, who's a quadriplegic himself. Uh, we offer clinics out of Illinois and also uh, out in Estes, Colorado. Um, the injuries that we work with our veterans, and you're talking about the yesterday being mental health day. A lot of people, it's a big issue with veterans nowadays, and also is in the past, but it's been brought out into the forefront. When you compound that with an injury that is debilitating to the point where they can no longer walk or no longer see, that's where Oscarmike comes in. And these injuries, these veterans, these injuries do not have to be combat related. We work with a lot of veterans who do their time military service, whether they're peacetime, whether they're in conflict, whether they're in a war, and they come back home and their injury uh, happens back stateside or maybe on a base somewhere. Uh, it doesn't have to be combat related. If you served your country, Oscarmike is here to serve you.
Well, that's great. So you're in Michigan. You travel back and forth between Illinois and Colorado, or are you just basically local to Illinois in the Midwest here?
Well, I'll do both. I'll travel to Illinois and also Colorado. So when I got involved with Oscarmike over the last couple of years, it was pretty much out in the field, just doing things with the Spartan races. Last year, after COVID started to wind down, they reached out to myself and also another veteran by the name of Kim. She's an Army veteran and she's my counterpart. We're both program managers for the clinics, and we facilitate the clinics for Oscarmike. So when they bring the veterans in, we make sure that all their needs are taken care of. It's a partnership. We work it together along with the volunteers that are there with Oscarmike. We take care of making sure they get from point A to point B for all the activities that are planned. The clinics are extremely different from one to the other. The Illinois clinic is about a more like an adrenaline rush. We do things like skydiving. They get a
Oh,
chance to fly Cessnas. They will drive ATVs, kayaking, everything that kind of like gets that heart pumping again, things that we kind of maybe miss in the military. The clinic that we run out in Estes out in Colorado is kind of like a yin to the yang. It's more of a zen. We're out in the mountains. It's camping, it's fly fishing, it's hiking. The campsite and the hiking that we do is all wheelchair accessible. So our veterans that are dealing with mobility issues get to enjoy every aspect of what we do at that clinic as well as what we do in Illinois. So it's not like you just have to be able to get up and be able to hike. We're going to go down trails that we're able to maneuver chairs through.
right. And so if you got a veteran, well, first of all, let me ask you this: how many veterans do you bring in? What's your like minimum number to bring into a clinic?
So a clinic in Illinois, we can bring up to a dozen veterans at a time. We like to try to bring in everything that we do is weather conducive. So our clinics start in April when the weather breaks, and we'll take them all the way up in through September and October until such time as we can no longer skydive. Uh, the clinics, they'll come in on a Monday. We bring them in. They get introduced to their teammates. Uh, it's uh, it's kind of like uh, I don't want to say it's like going to a boot camp again because it's not. When you come in, it is in a sense you're meeting fresh people, people that may have never met before in your life, and it's a mix of uh, injuries. We could out of that dozen, you could have a couple veterans that might be sight impaired, might be blind. we'll have a couple of veterans that might be missing limbs and other veterans that are in wheelchairs. And they end up working like a team. And they, for that week that they're there, when we move from location to location to do the activities that we do, they will guide each other, lift each other, help move each other. They work with us as well, and we work as a team, as you would say, as any platoon or squad would work together. And they learn things about themselves, because a lot of times they think, well, man, I'm in a bad place. But then they look in, or they're working with another veteran who has a different type of injury, and they go, well, maybe my injury is not as bad as I thought it was. And sometimes they'll joke back and forth thinking, well, would I rather have my legs, or would I rather lose my vision? And it ends up half-heartedly kind of joking about who's got it worse. But in the end, they all realize that it's not bad at all. They're able to do things that they never thought they would be able to accomplish uh, with their injuries.
Right, and I've seen that firsthand as people are struggling, and doesn't matter what part of the world you're from or what part of the country you're from. When a vet's struggling and another vet's there, it's automatic. It's like an automatic third gear that we kick ourselves into to help that other person out, regardless of our own situation. We're there for them to support them. It's like an automatic thing. It's your next brother and your next sister that you've never met before. It's just part of the family kind of thing, and I think that's resonates with a lot of vets, and a lot of things that they do once they get in a group setting like that. I think it's really great that they're able to support one another and be there for one another and continue on the mission, I guess you could say, right?
Yeah, it's that does give them that sense of camaraderie again, when they're able to come in and be around each other, and realize that we're maybe they were just sitting at home lamenting their injuries, and dealing with that. But when they get around their brothers and sisters, there's a lot of growth that happens in that group. And we don't, one of the things that we don't do at the clinics is we don't have we don't sit down and say, hey, let's talk about our feelings. Let's talk about, what's going on in our heads. What we've discovered is that tends to happen organically. When the group comes together and you're living together for that week, you're staying together, you're with each other for breakfast, lunch, and dinner again, and you're helping each other achieve things, and you're going through shared experiences, that stuff just will naturally come out if they want it to come out. We don't pressure anybody to express their feelings or talk about what's bothering them. A lot of times you can tell when something's bothering somebody. And at that moment there, a teammate will usually recognize that, and they'll step in. And then next thing you know, they're laughing and joking, and uh, whatever's might have been bothering somebody, they'll talk about it, and they'll say, hey, yeah, I'm going through the same thing. And they go, really? So um, when we get people out to the clinics, it's all expenses paid, even their travel. So we bring our veterans out. It doesn't cost them a dime. We fly them out through the sponsorships and through, when people donate to Oscarmike, all that goes to cover these expenses, so that somebody doesn't have to say, well, gee, it's something I'd really like to do. I'm sitting at home lamenting my injury, but I can't make it out there. We take care of that. We're all about getting you there, getting you into the program, getting you to the clinic, getting you outside your comfort zone, and getting you living again, and then getting you back home, and hopefully starting something that maybe you thought you weren't gonna do. We've had, like I said, we'll take somebody that lost their sight, and we had a young lady that was at our last clinic, and she's completely blind, hasn't driven a vehicle in a car. That's something that we might take for granted on a daily basis, just the feel of accelerating a vehicle. And in one day at the clinic, she's driven an ATV, and she's got behind you know, taken a flight lesson in a Cessna and got to fly a plane.
Wow.
So when somebody's sitting there thinking, when was the last time that you just kind of took for granted, stepping on the accelerator of your car and just feeling the power of that truck, that car, whatever that vehicle is, move underneath you. And you're in control of that. And then you take away your vision or somebody's ability to have that experience and not have that experience for years. And then we bring them out and say, hey, you know what? We're going to do something in a day. And they go, well, I haven't done that in 5 years, or I haven't done that in 8 years or 10 years. And to see the smile on her face when we're in a safe environment and she's got her foot on the accelerator, and I say, hey, punch it. And she's really, and I says, hey, I'm sitting in the passenger seat next to her.
Right.
And I said, hit the gas. And for her to feel the tires spin up underneath that ATV, kick up some dirt, and accelerate in a straightaway in a safe environment, and to see her smile from ear to ear, that's what keeps my partner, my other program manager, myself, the volunteers. That's what it's all about. And being able to give back to our brothers and sisters and help them experience something that they may have believed was lost to them. And then point them in directions of other programs, because there's a bunch of programs out there. And at Oscarmike, we don't covet people. We don't say, hey, you're just with Oscarmike and that's it. We like to find other programs out there that say, hey, if this is an aspect that you enjoy doing, here's another veteran run program, or here's another program out there that you might want to look into. And then a lot of times afterwards, after opening up to each other and stuff, I've gotten personal phone calls back where they were able to open up to their families and talk to their families about not just their experience with us, but issues that maybe they've been dealing with. So it's kind of like a step process with the mental health. Sometimes they don't want to open up to, veterans. We don't want to open up to our families. We do it with our brothers and sisters first, but then we realize, hey, it's okay.
Right.
I found that I got some answers that I needed. As far as veterans coming out, some veterans need caregivers, depending on the extent of their injury, like quadriplegics, depending on the level of their injury. Some of them need a caregiver to travel with them. We cover the expense of that caregiver as well if it's necessary. And we bring them out to the clinics, and they'll get a chance to witness and, see what their significant other is going through, and seeing them, hopefully start to enjoy life again. But yeah, if their injury requires a caregiver at Oscarmike, we take care of that as well.
That's awesome. Now, let me ask you this: when, as the program manager, when they fly in from all different locations, how far is the site from the airport? I mean, are you shuttling people 2 3 hours away? I mean, are you making return, or are you making continuous trips? Do you try to put them all at one time in arriving area so that way you don't have to do that? Or how does all that work?
So how that works is, in the Illinois clinic, we fly everybody into Chicago O'Hara. There is another airport in Rockford. If they're able to get them into the Rockford airport, it's a little bit closer. O'Hara is about 55 minutes from our compound.
Okay.
We call it, everybody goes, a compound. It's actually a very, very large house that is all wheelchair accessible. Because besides the clinics at that location where we bring people to, Oscarmike also sponsors the only all veteran quad rugby team. So the entire quad rugby team, when they're in town, they're able to stay there as well. So it's about a 55-minute drive from the airport. We have a bus that is ADA certified bus. It has a lift, so we can get our wheelchair bound veterans into the bus and transport them. Sometimes we'll do, myself personally, and also with the help of other volunteers, sometimes we'll make 2 3 trips to O'Hara, and we bring them in on Monday. We get them to the Oscarmike compound in Poplar Grove, Illinois. They get a tour of the facility. At that facility, we're on a private lake. It's in a gated community. They're able to have full run of the house. We show them to their rooms. We get them settled in. We have our guy, he's a multitasker. He is not only our media guy, he's our chef. So all
Right.
the food is there and ready for people. Even if they have a food allergy, we ask people ahead of time, do you require a gluten-free diet? Is there any food allergies? All the food is supplied and ordered prior to the clinic coming out. Um, so Monday, when the team is brought in and everybody is there, we sit down, we introduce each other, everybody gets fed. Um, Tuesday mornings, Monday they get a chance to explore the compound. If they want to kayak, we can kayak the lake. We got paddle boards. We've got a gym. We have pool table, ping pong. They're able to roam the grounds, and if there's something that they choose to do, they're able to do it. We have archery on site. Um, Tuesday, we get up in the mornings and we hit the ground rolling, as we would say. We drive ATVs. Everybody has the opportunity to drive ATVs. We shuttle back and forth between our partner airport that is right down the road from us and are able to fly a Cessnas.
Wow.
We barbecue later on that day in the evening time. They're able to, if they want to sit around the fire, we have a fire pit. They're able to enjoy the lake if they want to fish. Uh, on Wednesdays, we get up and we head out. We have a partnership with a place called Chicagoland, and everybody gets a chance to jump out of a perfectly good airplane. So we do some skydiving. Um, on the That takes most of the day.
Right.
When we're at the skydive facility, they have a great restaurant there. We cover all their food expenses for the day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. On Mondays and Tuesdays, the team, they make the dinner. We have all the food ready for them. Our chef walks them through it. So we kind of do like a kitchen therapy thing, we call it. And everybody comes together to prepare the meals on those 2 days. On Thursdays, we get up and we do like a mini triathlon. So everybody gets an opportunity to do like a 1.5 mile push in a wheelchair. We'll break the crew up into 3 groups. While one group is pushing wheelchairs, the other group is on the lake kayaking 1.5 miles. And then to go around the lake via a bike or hand cycles that we supply, it's a 4.3 mile trip around the entire lake. So everybody gets to participate on that. Later on, we have a partnership with Bravehearts, which rescues the American Mustang horse.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also run by some great veterans. We have some really good partners out there that we're able to take our crew out there and get a chance to mingle and actually touch and be in the presence of the American Mustang horse and some other horses. So then after that, we have a catered meal. They don't have to cook on Thursday night. They come back, and Noah Courier, the founder, he likes to talk with everybody because Noah, this is his brainchild.
Right.
And this is part of Kim, the other volunteers, and myself. This is what we are facilitating his dream. And being a quadriplegic, these are all things that were a challenge to him in the beginning. And he went through a long period of time lamenting his injury. And, it's his story to tell. But for 6 years, he was lost, and he was trying to decide what to do with his life. And it wasn't until somebody got him out of his comfort zone that he said, how many people like me are dealing with their injuries and lamenting the same things, maybe becoming another one of the statistics that we all fear,
Right.
that are brothers and sisters. Uh, After Thursday, everybody is able to, talk and talk about their week and whatnot. And on Fridays, we sadly we say goodbye to everybody. We take them back to the airport, and or however they may have came in. Sometimes if they come in by train, We get them to the train station, bus station, airport, however we brought them in, they'll head back home. Each group that has gone through has chosen to start a Facebook group and stay in contact with each other. So they're able to reach out, stay in contact with each other and about their lives. The Denver Estes Clinic is very similar, other than we bring them out to Denver, shuttle them to Estes, whereas the national park is at in Estes, Colorado. But that clinic is smaller in numbers because the campsite, we can only get so many people out of the campsite. So that's more like a half a dozen veterans at a time. And it is a truly a beautiful experience to go out there and go to Estes. And like Illinois, the veterans that come out, it'll be a little bit of a mixture. There'll be veterans who are missing limbs, veterans who are in wheelchairs, and also maybe some vision impaired or TBI, somebody with the severe traumatic brain injuries. And they're able to work together, get each other when they do some hiking, work with each other on that, help each other when it comes to fly fishing and doing those stuff. And then it's just a full camping experience. They're out there roughing it. There's no electricity. You're basically out there in the elements. They come out there, they set up their campsite, they set up their tents, they work together, and they hustle and get firewood for at nighttime for around the campfires. And there's a lot of good conversation around the campfire at night. It's very, very soul searching.
Now, do these? I've got a few questions for you, but the first one I'm going to ask you: do these events run simultaneously, or do they run at different times throughout the year?
Sometimes they can be simultaneously because we have another crew that is facilitating the Colorado clinic. This year was the first year. This was the first year for the Colorado clinic, and Oscarmike is growing. We've added that clinic this year, and they're still kind of, working out some of the bugs and like anything that's brand new. But other than bugs, being out there in the wild, that's pretty much what you're dealing with when
Right.
you're camping.
Right.
But for the most part, we are able to almost run them simultaneously. We did have a bus out there, and we have a bus in Illinois. But like anything that's mechanical, sometimes something unforeseen happens. The last couple of clinics, we've had to drive that bus from Illinois after one clinic, get it immediately out there to Colorado for another clinic that's out there. Hopefully we get that other bus repaired and get that back in the service. But like any foundation, that's comes with the territory when what you're doing is constantly staying on the move and keeping veterans on the move. We have repairs to make, and like anything else.
Now, so when somebody's looking to register for a an event, whether it be in Colorado or Illinois, um, and they're going through the process, do you get a lot of the veterans that say, "Hey, this might be something for me," or do you get a lot of spouses like, "Look, we need to look into this. We need to get you out of this funk, or we need to get you out of this environment and get you with your brothers and sisters out there to go out and see something." I mean, do you get a lot of responses from both the caregivers and also the veterans, or just mostly the veterans?
For the veterans that I've met and talked to, I can be out and about, and whether it be at the VFW or American Legion, or if I'm out and about and I'll see, you'll see that veteran DV plate, and sometimes just in general conversation, I'll be talking with somebody and say, hey, here, check us out. But if they go, how the process works in general is when people go on the website to go to oscarmike.org, naturally what pops up is we have our apparel side, and the sale of the apparel is what helps fund everything. We do have, well, it helps cut the overhead as well.
Right. Right.
So when they go to oscarmike.org and they scroll down below the apparel, they'll actually see fundraising, and they'll see veteran athletes sign up. And when they go on there, they can sign up, and there's a questionnaire that they'll go through, and they get put into a data and a list. And we try to go down that list, and that's not something that I'm part of. But at the headquarters, they go down the list and they try to get everybody that wants to come out to a clinic. They'll get to them and try to get them out. They'll find out once we have our schedule for the next year, or for each year, once we have that schedule, they'll start reaching out to the veterans and saying, hey, here's some available slots.
Right.
And for those that want to come out, they'll start filling them into available slots. And now that they have the two clinics, they'll be able to say, well, we have two clinics, different clinics to offer. And they'll start putting them into slots. Now, once they're put into those slots, Kim and myself, the other program manager, she takes care of, I got to tell you, she takes care of all the computer stuff because, like you were saying at the beginning, technology is not my friend. This is
Right.
what I'm doing right now is really new. And Kim is just fantastic about when we get the list, she reaches out to every single veteran on that list and welcomes them to the Oscarmike clinic. And she'll send a letter and through a text or an email, and kind of gives them a breakdown. And we also have a list of what to bring. So she takes care of all that stuff, making sure that they have a list of what they need to bring with them, kind of what to expect. We don't want to give away the farm, because we do kind of like to give them a little bit of some surprises and whatnot.
Right.
But that way they show up with everything they need. And sometimes if they show up and they don't have everything they need, that's fine too. I personally run out to the store and got toothbrushes, toothpaste, or, things that are, needed, that may have got missed in packing. And then from there, between the two of us, I kind of do a lot of the grunt work. I take care of I guess you could say, take care of the heavy lifting. She's a tough lady in her own right.
You're the boots on the ground guy versus the computer guy.
Yeah, but we're both the boots on the ground
Yeah.
type people. She is very, very involved in everything, Dave. We both are. We just you find your niche and you follow your niche, and we both complement each other well. But I couldn't do it without her. She's just fantastic. But like I said, when people come out to the compounds and to the facility, we do make sure that everybody, because they also are co-ed, we make sure that everybody signs a code of conduct to make sure that they understand that when they're in the presence of other people, it's not a locker room setting, and being that, I'm an old Marine, and I'm usually, most of the time, I'm older than most of the individuals that come in, but I do have to sometimes say, hey, look, be careful. We're not in a locker room. You're in the presence of other people, and everybody is very respectful. Everybody understands that, the dynamic of what's going on, because even some of the veterans that are coming through, not only are they dealing with their physical injuries, they're also dealing with other things as well, everything from PTSD to MST, military sexual trauma. So there is a lot of trust issues that sometimes some of the veterans bring with them, and we make sure that they're in a very safe environment. One of the things that we also do at the Illinois clinic is we do have a partnership with a local range, and we do also offer range time with other veterans that are in the area, and they come out with us, and they will bring a number of different firearms. If people want to participate in that, they're welcome to. We have some veterans that they really enjoy that. We have other veterans that have said, you know what, that's not for me. And what we do is we go, hey, that's cool. We find another event or something else for them to do. And if sometimes they'll say, you know what, I didn't think I was ready, but maybe I want to go to the range and see how I feel.
Right.
And sometimes we've gone to the range and they'll take that opportunity to uh, fire a rifle or get some what we call target practice in. And they go, wow, I kind of miss this. Or we'll get there and all of a sudden they realize, hey, you know what? Uh, I'm not, starting to feel right. My heart's racing or whatever they say. We'll immediately pull them out of that situation and we'll find something else that they can do. We've got a number of things. So um, we are very conscious of everybody has a different uh, issue that they may be dealing with.
Right.
And with that, we're always making sure that, we don't force anybody to do anything that that makes them feel that might trigger an emotion or something that they're dealing with, mentally or in that realm.
Now, you and I met the first time we met at the VFW post in Monroe, and we started conversing, and then we followed up again in Flint here recently last month, and you were showing me a video of a female, and I think it might, I think it, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was the blind female that you were mentioning previously, shooting a rifle or something like that. Can you walk me through that one?
Oh yeah. So that right there was a young lady that actually she was cited. She was it's pretty significant in Oscarmike's and Noah their story because this young lady, video that I was showing you that was at the range shooting that rifle was her injury was a year ago as we were leaving Afghanistan. The suicide bomber that struck the Marines and killed a number of our Marine brothers and our Navy. We lost a couple other service members uh, in that attack. There was also a number of Marines and other service members that were severely injured in that suicide attack. This young lady was paralyzed in that attack.
So I apologize
And
for the
yeah,
hidden comment there.
she was able to she was actually um, still recovering. Her mom, so because her injury is so new, her mother is acting as a caregiver. So we brought them both out to the Oscarmike facility. And the when you think about things without Oscarmike, there's no telling how long it might have been before maybe she had the opportunity to meet with other veterans who with like injuries that were also have been paralyzed, to be able to spend time with the founder Noah, who's was 6 years like we talked about before Noah got before anybody stepped in and said, hey, look, let's go do something, let's get you living your life again and seeing what you're still capable of doing. To where this young lady, Kelsey, a year after her injury, you've got somebody like Oscarmike is reaching out and saying, hey, would you like to partake in this and get an opportunity to see what you're still capable of before somebody goes down maybe a bad path. But it was truly an honor to, to be able to serve a young lady like this and the rest of and every group that comes through has incredible stories of of just surviving, whether their injury was, combat related,
Hmm.
or whether it was a motorcycle accident, car accident after they returned, or whatever it was, you know, uh, that occurred that put them in the situation they're in. But to have that young lady there, you know, so, so early after her injury, um, we felt it was pretty profound, you know. Uh,
And that smile on her face, man, when you showed me that video, I mean, that lit up the entire room right there when you were pointing that out, that she was on that rifle. And you had mentioned it earlier with another veteran had a smile on their face, or you've seen the smiles on their face. So take me through what it's like, when the folks get to the compound, and I'm sure they're kind of sizing one another up or feeling each other out or kind of doing the thing that we normally do on a daily basis. Take me through somebody who might have a little bit of, kind of observing versus just getting right into it. What do you see, when somebody comes in to the time that they're leaving? I mean, take me through that part where you get to the place and you see somebody and they're kind of feeling their way through and checking everybody out, and then all of a sudden you're getting ready to leave and they're, you seen that transformation. Tell me what that's like.
well, from my perspective, and I could say that I'm truly blessed to witness that, because when it's just like when, for most of it, just about everybody that you and I and most likely the everybody that's watching your podcast, it's like when you go to boot camp and you're thrown into the mix. There's a bunch of strangers. You're meeting people for the first time, uh, but you're all in the same predicament. It doesn't matter what their injury is. It's like, okay, we're going to this place. We're all kind of thrust together. For the most part, they don't know each other. Once in a while, because there's other things going on out there in the United States, some pretty good events that are happening where sometimes they do know each other, but there's always that errant person or somebody that, they are shy. They are kind of, uh, they're very guarded, you know. But as the week goes on and they're doing things together, you see that shield start to kind of work its way down a little bit, and they start to open up. And when they're helping uh, move each other, like we've got maybe a veteran with severe TBI, but they're able to help transfer one of their brothers or sisters out of their wheelchair and help them get into, a vehicle or transfer back again. And then the conversations do come up. It's automatically, because it's like you have to go from being quiet to like, okay, what do you need me to do? Do you need me to move a leg, or, help to move somebody from point A to point B? So it happens organically. And then they naturally start to open up. And then the evening, at the end of the day, after they've done these things, you see that guy or that girl that is like, oh yeah, we did it, was so cool, and we did this, and oh, that was really funny, when somebody did that. And there's always some kind of humor breaks the ice. you know uh Somebody will ask for something like, hey, I need a hand with something. Next thing you know, a prosthetic arm comes out of nowhere and everybody starts laughing. It kind of breaks the ice. And then at the end of the week, when we had that it's like the last meal together as a group, and Noah, the founder, is there. And that's one of the things that feeds his fire, is he asks people, it's like, what did you get out of this clinic? What are the positives, but also what are the negatives? Because we always ask everybody, what could we do to improve your experience? And when everybody sums up their week, and it's really hard to talk about it without getting choked up a little bit, is a lot of people say, if they could sum up their week, a lot of it is, if you could use one word, they say family.
Wow.
And that word comes out more than any other word, because at the end of the week, we came in, we started out as a group of strangers, even myself, because they view the volunteers and Kim and myself, the program managers, hey, they come in as the raw recruits. We're kind of like, they view us almost like DIs, but that's
Right.
not how we approach them. But it takes them a little bit. They have their little circle, and then as the week goes on, they start including the program managers and the volunteers into their circle, and then they realize that, hey, we can open up our circle a little bit more. One of the things, one of the best phone calls I got recently was, just as you were saying, one of our veterans came through and he really held to himself. He was there. He had a service dog. And yeah, if you have a service dog, you bring your service dog as well. As a matter of fact, we had 4 service dogs in our last
Wow.
clinic.
Wow.
Um, he stayed to himself. And then towards the end of the week, he was like helping myself do everything when we were transferring veterans in wheelchairs into kayaks, he's like right there. What do you need me to do? What do you need me to do? Where at the beginning of the week, he kind of stayed to himself. He called me uh, last week and he told me, he goes, since I've been home, and he's a husband and a father of 2 small children, he says, the house that I live with my family, we moved into 4 years ago. He says, I've done more at that house in the last 2.5 days since I've been home from the clinic than I've done in the 4 years that I've been there.
Wow, that's awesome.
And he
That is
said, he said his wife and even his mother said, man, he said, what's going on with you? And he's like, he said, I just got this energy now. Um, and he called me to thank me on that. And that, it kind of makes me, it humbles me. It
for sure.
really does, because, I just, uh, all I'm trying to do is give back and do what I'm asked to do. Uh, when I've seen what this program was doing out in the field with the obstacle course racing, and when they asked me to come in from the field and start doing this stuff at the foundation's location and whatnot, I was a little bit hesitant, because you kind of, when you're doing something you enjoy, uh, you're like, well, I don't want to give that up,
Right.
because
Right.
even at my age, I still like to get dirty. I crawl under the barbed wire. We go out there. We take on the obstacle course races, and our teams will help. We don't do the race for the veterans, but we just give them just that much to help them get over that wall, or to really test themselves out there in the obstacles. So when I was asked to come in and out of the field, and I still do both, I'm just getting ready to go down to Nashville next weekend, Dallas the weekend after that, and
Wow.
then I got the Marine Corps Marathon on the 30th of this month. So I got a full I got a full menu, or I guess you could say a full schedule.
Right.
Um, but it's phone calls like that I get from the veterans, and seeing the smiles on their faces when they do something, or uh, whether it's driving the ATV, helping them get out of the airplane and get back into their chair, and they're going, I can't believe I just flew a plane, or running their wheelchair out to the field after they've landed, after they skydived, or sitting in the mountains of Colorado and just listening to the crickets, and the calmness, and not hearing airplanes overhead, and not hearing cars, and just the
Yep.
quiet, to experience that, and to get the feedback from the veterans that come through Oscarmike. uh yeah, I'm a blessed person. I'm very, very lucky in that aspect. um you
Wow.
know So to see that transition, when people change, that is the greatest thing to witness. That
No,
is the smiles, and to see and to hear when they reach back out to me. That is that's something.
that is awesome. That's like almost worth every ounce of everything that you could muster. But Let me ask you this: on those Facebook pages that you said that the group comes in contact with, are you guys on those Facebook pages, or do you follow up with them? Is there a protocol after they graduate or after they get done with the events? Do you guys check in with them periodically, or how does that work?
Oh yeah. Like I'm not like a technology. I'm not real big on the technology, and I'm not really good at following like certain things on social media. But when the groups finish their clinic and they form their little social media chat group or whatnot, they always include the program managers, some of the volunteers, and each other. And it is a way for us to keep in contact. And they have my phone number, and I have received phone calls sometimes later on at night, and just saying, hey, just I'm sad because it's been a couple weeks since I was out there at the clinic, and I really wish I could stay out there, so I I put myself out there for the groups that go through, and Kim does as well. We have another we have a handful of great volunteers too that do the same thing, and we're always tracking. We're always tracking and making sure that if there is anything they need, and uh, uh, it was asked before. He said, "Well, has anybody ever been able to come back to a clinic?" And the answer to that question is yes. Uh, Sometimes we have had some of the people come out and do one clinic and said, that really helped them quite a bit, and getting them to maybe come out to do the other clinic out in Colorado or vice versa. Yeah, we want to make sure that when somebody's been with us, uh, that if there's anything that we can do, for their emotional uh, needs, that if they need to talk, yeah, we're always there. I don't just shove them out the door,
Right.
unless it's the airplane and we're skydiving. They gotta get,
Skydiving. Right.
they
They got
get
to get
that.
out of the plane. They got to get out of that perfectly good aircraft. So
Yeah.
we're about wrapping up here, but I do want you to stay on a little bit after we go off. But um, I do have one more question before we put the information on the screen for the organization and stuff like that. Volunteers. Do you normally take volunteers that go through the program and then they volunteer, or how does that work for the volunteer aspect of people who want to help out at the compounds?
Well, naturally, people that are volunteering around a compound where we're at in Illinois, and also out in Estes, out in Colorado, they kind of live around that area.
Okay.
Where the so our volunteer corps will do things, help like cutting grass or pretty much what they want to do. We don't we try to include everybody. I've had people ask me in Michigan here, say, well, how can I volunteer? Well, uh, sometimes we have like our partnership with Spartan. We're allowed up to 20 bibs to help an injured veteran get through a race. We just have to tell our volunteers, keep in mind that we do have some veterans that can run.
Right.
So
Right.
uh, the whole thing is you have to be able to keep up with the veteran in that aspect. Um, it's kind of a tough thing to say, I guess, because when you got somebody that would really want to volunteer, unless they could travel, and to go out there and do something. I mean, like we've just got a couple of volunteers in the facility. We've got uh, all the beds in the facility. We take care of after everybody leaves. We do all the laundry. We remake all the beds, and yeah, I do. We do the airport pickups. We make the beds. We clean the facility, and that all is just handled by just a handful of people. It would be great if we had more volunteers that are actually, that are close by. Um, but as far as being able to volunteer, if you live in the Rockford, uh, Poplar Grove area of Illinois, yeah, absolutely reach out to us. Especially if you want to come out and, being that it's a big facility, we'd love having people come out, plant flowers, help with maintenance on a facility. There's always something that needs to be done when you're dealing with a facility of that magnitude. And speaking of that, Oscarmike is on the move again. We just acquired 100 acres, and uh, within hopefully in the next couple of years, within about 2 years, we'll have a brand new facility to go along with the facilities that we're using right now, and be able to do even more on that property. They want to be able to have a rugby court so that our rugby teams can come in and practice and train. We want to be able to have on that 100 acres, be able to do a whole bunch of things for our veterans and be able to get them out there, get them off the couches, out of their houses, and get them on a move doing stuff.
Now, is that in Illinois or is that somewhere else?
That is in Illinois. That is
Okay.
right down the street from where we're at right now. But we will be able to do double the amount of veterans that come through the clinics, do more for veterans in wheelchairs, and be able to give more veterans a better outlook on life. Sad to say, and that would be another time for another podcast, but you would think that in this day and age, you would have people that would be happy to have a facility like that in their neck of the woods. But there was a whole other story with
Points of contention there a little bit.
yeah, you had people not wanting it to happen. They were like, yeah, we support our veterans, but just not in our neighborhood,
Right.
type thing. And it's
That's crazy.
yeah.
That doesn't make a lot of sense. But Patrick, we do thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
I wanna take this home. I'm gonna put up this Oscarmike information right here, and I'm gonna ask you to stay on afterwards. But so how can we contact you? I mean, how can we contact the organization? Let us know what we can do. Is there donations? Is there what can our podcast viewers how can they help? How can we help you?
Just go out to oscarmike.org. And as you scroll down, something as simple as buying our apparel. The apparel is 100% American made. And that helps cut the overhead and fund what we do with our veterans. Everything's from t-shirts to hats and hoodies. All that stuff you're helping with not just the veterans, but American manufacturing as well. There's also a direct, you can do fundraisers. You can also you can donate on that site as well. And most importantly, if there's any brothers or sisters out there that need us, you're lamenting your injuries, you're dealing with something like that, there's a veteran sign up. Go on that veteran sign up, fill it out, and we'll get you on our list. And you can reach out to me personally as well at patrick@oscarmike.org.
All right. Well, thank you again. Just hang out with us for a little bit and we're going to close this session. But thanks for coming on. Great organization doing great things for veterans. And that's what we're focused on. So, again, thank you so much for coming on. And I'm going to end with you here and then we're just going to close out. So, thank you so much. Hang on. All right. So, we had a great interview with Patrick from Oscarmike. The detailed information will be available to all of you to help with the cause for Oscarmike. Come see us next week when we're talking with David Root from the VFW Legislative in the state of Ohio on bills for veterans, advocating for veterans and how that all process works on the Hill. Somebody comes up with an idea, it turns into a piece of legislation, and we need to get it out there and we need to get it in front of our congressional delegates and our senators, whether it be in the state or whether it be federally through the states. So join us next week, and we will see you soon. And take care. Have a great day.